All right, welcome in, 8th graders. I am so glad you're here. We are going to dive straight into a really fascinating explainer today. We're looking at how we read, how we take in information, and honestly, how we make sense of the whole world around us. For this session, I want you to literally think of yourselves as literary detectives. We're going to uncover these hidden connections that tie totally different types of writing together. And by the time we wrap this up, you'll have this brand new analytical superpower. It's going to completely change the way you look at pretty much every text you ever encounter.
So, think about this for a second. Have you ever noticed how a rap song and a nightly news report can somehow make you feel the exact same way? I know, it sounds kind of crazy at first, right? Because one is all about rhythm, heavy beats, and rhyming, while the other is strictly the facts, the quotes, totally objective reporting. But here's the secret. Genres? They're really just different disguises hiding the exact same clues. A song and a news broadcast might look and sound completely different on the surface, but underneath all that, they could actually be talking about the exact same struggle for justice, or the exact same longing for peace. Our job today is to learn how to look right past that disguise and find the shared truth hiding underneath.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today's investigation. First, we'll look at the art of comparing genres, then why cross-genre analysis actually matters. After that, we'll break down exactly how to do it, look at some real-world examples, and finally, we'll tie the whole shebang back to an education rooted in morality. Let's get to it.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the art of comparing genres, seeing through the disguise.
Now, to really master reading and writing, we have to recognize that different formats, poems, essays, articles, they're really just different vehicles carrying similar messages. To kind of ground this idea, let's look at this brilliant piece of guiding wisdom from Scripture. Ecclesiastes 4:9 says, "Two are better than one, because they have a good reward for their toil." Usually, when we hear this verse, we immediately think about teamwork or friendship, right? But the crucial point here is that it applies perfectly to reading, too. When you pair two different texts together, let's say a historical article and a fictional short story, they team up. They work together to give you a good reward. Basically, you get a much deeper, richer, and more complete understanding of a topic than either one could ever give you on its own.
So let's officially define this academic superpower we're building today. Cross-genre analysis is the skill of identifying shared themes across different forms of writing and examining how each format uniquely communicates that message. Notice there are two distinct parts there. First, finding the common ground, that shared theme, and second, looking at the unique tools each genre uses to build that ground. It's not just saying, oh hey, these are both about dogs. No, it's more like saying, okay, this encyclopedia article uses scientific facts to explain a dog's loyalty, but this poem uses the emotional imagery of a dog waiting by the front door to make us actually feel that loyalty. See the difference?
Moving right along to Section 2, why cross-genre analysis matters, your reading superpower.
Why does this actually matter? Why are we taking the time to learn this? Well, practically speaking, this superpower completely sharpens your reading skills. You stop just passively staring at words and become an active reader, constantly hunting for connections. It also helps you appreciate unique genre strengths. You start to realize exactly why an author chose to write a poem instead of a news article. In school, this leads directly to incredibly insightful essays and creates way richer classroom discussions because you're bringing multiple perspectives to the table. And out in the real world, it connects everything. You'll watch a documentary on Netflix, then hear a political speech, and your brain will just automatically start connecting the dots. It's literally like seeing The Matrix.
Now for Section 3, how to compare different genres. Grab your notepad because this is your official detective's playbook.
Let's look at how this builds a totally foolproof method for analysis. Step 1. Select works from 2 or more genres that talk about a similar topic. Maybe it's a short story and a news article. Step 2. Identify those common themes. Ask yourself, what is the big idea here? Are they both exploring justice, courage, friendship? You've got to pinpoint that shared heartbeat. Then, Step 3. Examine how each approaches that topic differently. Look at their style, their tone, their purpose. Does one use rhyming couplets to make you feel hopeful, while the other hits you with harsh statistics to make you feel a sense of urgency?
Let's put this into practice with Section 4, real-world genre examples. Clues in action.
Imagine we're looking at the shared theme of bravery. On side A, we've got a biography of a historical figure. That biography conveys bravery using cold, hard facts, dates, historical records. It basically proves that bravery happened. But over on side B, we have a poem about bravery. Now, the poem doesn't care at all about dates. It uses symbolism. Maybe it describes a solitary oak tree, standing firm in the middle of a massive hurricane. They are both teaching us about bravery, for sure, but one speaks directly to our logic, and the other, it speaks right to our imagination. Let's try another one. Consider a theme like environmental change. On side A, a short story tackles this by bringing in characters. You might read about a specific family struggling to find clean water, which builds this deep, intense empathy for their situation. On side B, a newspaper editorial tackles the exact same issue, but uses persuasive arguments. It's citing data on pollution levels, urging lawmakers to pass regulations. So, one uses emotional character arcs, and the other uses direct, logical arguments. They both want you to take action, but the tools they use are completely different.
And for a theme like unity, the contrast is absolutely fascinating. On side A, a speech delivers a call to unity using direct appeals. The speaker looks right out at the audience and says, "We must stand together right now." It's super immediate, very commanding. On side B, a novel makes that exact same call to unity, but it weaves it into a narrative over, say, hundreds of pages. You slowly watch this diverse group of characters learn to overcome their differences to solve a problem. The speech tells you to unite, while the novel actually shows you what unity looks like in practice.
All right, let's do a quick homework check. Pause for a second and think back to our detective's playbook. What is the very first thing you need to identify before you start comparing the differences between genres? Do you remember? Yep, it was step 2. You have to identify the common themes first. You've got to find that shared heartbeat, like bravery or justice, before you can even begin to meaningfully discuss how their styles differ. Because frankly, if you don't know what they have in common, you can't properly analyze how they pull apart.
Which brings us to our final part, Section 5, Education Rooted in Morality. The ultimate payoff.
We've spent this whole explainer building up your intellectual superpowers. But at Heroes Smart Academy, there is an overarching philosophy for the godly learner that we really need to address here. Like, why are we building these skills in the first place? Well, simply put, education without morality will hurt. This is a foundational truth. We intertwine biblical morality with education because, honestly, just being smart isn't enough. What is the point of being highly educated, of knowing how to analyze complex texts, if you just go out and continue making bad choices that end up hurting yourself and the people around you? Think about it. An educated mind without a moral compass is basically like a high-powered sports car with no steering wheel. It's got a ton of power, but it is absolutely bound to crash. Morality is that steering wheel. It ensures your education actually benefits the world.
And the truly beautiful thing here is that choosing a moral, spiritual path comes with this incredible reward. Romans 8:6-7 promises peace of mind to everyone who keeps their mind spiritual. And guys, this is the ultimate payoff. When you combine your new, razor-sharp, cross-genre analytical skills with a heart that is deeply rooted in biblical morality, you don't just get good grades, you get peace. You learn to navigate all the complex, noisy messages of the world with total clarity and spiritual groundedness. And that's not just some theory, it's what we actually experience when we engage with this kind of learning. So I want to leave you with one final, really provocative thought today. Now that you've got this analytical superpower, now that you know how to see right through the disguises of different genres and find those hidden themes, how are you going to use it? How will you use this specific skill to actively seek the truth? And even more importantly, how will you let that truth guide you to make wiser, moral choices in your own everyday life? I want you to really think about that the next time you scroll through an article, listen to a new song, or read a story. Until next time, keep analyzing, keep seeking the truth, and keep learning.